Nina Simone was born on February 21, 1933, in Tryon, North Carolina. Nina Simone studied classical piano at the Juilliard School in New York City, but left early when she ran out of money. Performing in nightclubs, she turned her interest to jazz, blues and folk music and released her first album in 1957, scoring a top 20 hit with the track I Loves You Porgy. In the 60s, Simone expanded her repertoire in exemplary fashion while becoming identified as a leading voice of the civil rights movement. She later lived abroad and experienced major mental health and financial issues, though enjoying a big career resurgence in the 1980s. Simone died in France on April 21, 2003. Simone taught piano and worked as an accompanist for other performers while at Juilliard, but she eventually had to leave school after she ran out of funds. Moving to Philadelphia, Simone lived with her family there in order to save money and go to a more affordable music program. Her career took an unexpected turn, however, when she was rejected from the Curtis Institute of Music in Philadelphia. She later claimed the school denied her admittance because she was African American. Turning away from classical music, she started playing American standards, jazz and blues in Atlantic City clubs in the 1950s. Before long, she started singing along with her music at the behest of a bar owner. She took the stage name Nina Simone. Nina, derived from the Spanish word Nina, came from a nickname used by her then-boyfriend while Simone was inspired by French actress Simone Signoret. The performer eventually won over such fans as writers Langston Hughes, Lorraine Hansberry and James Baldwin. Simone began recording her music in the late 1950s under the Bethlehem label, releasing her first full album in 1957, which featured Plain Gold Ring and the title track Little Girl Blue. It also included her one and only top 20 pop hit with her version of I Loves You Porgy from the George and Ira Gershwin musical Porgy and Bess. Under different labels, Simone released a bevy of albums from the late 50s throughout the 60s and early 70s, including records like The Amazing Nina Simone, 1959, Nina Simone Sings Ellington, 1962, Wild is the Wind, 1966, and Silk and Soul, 1967. She also made cover songs of popular music, eventually putting her own spin on such songs as Bob Dylan's The Times They Are A-Changin' and the Beatles' Here Comes the Sunday, and she showed her sensual side with tracks like Take Care of Business on 1965's I Put a Spell on You and I Want a Little Sugar in My Bowl on 1967's Nina Simone Sings the Blues. In many ways, Simone's music defied standard definitions. Her classical training showed through, no matter what genre of song she played, and she drew from a well of sources that included gospel, pop and folk. She was often called the High Priestess of Soul, but she hated that nickname. She didn't like the label of jazz singer, either. If I had to be called something, it should have been a folk singer because there was more folk and blues than jazz in my playing, she later wrote in her autobiography. By the mid-1960s, Simone became known as the voice of the civil rights movement. She wrote Mississippi Goddam in response to the 1963 assassination of Medgar Evers and the Birmingham church bombing that killed 4 young African-American girls. She also penned For Women, chronicling the complex histories of a quartet of African-American female figures, and Young, Gifted and Black, borrowing the title of a play by Hansberry, which became a popular anthem. After the assassination of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968, Simone's bassist Greg Taylor penned Why, the King of Love is Dead, which was performed by the singer and her band at the Westbury Music Festival. During the 60s, Simone had prominent hits in England as well with I Put a Spell on You, Ain't Got No I Got Life, Do What You Got to Do and To Love Somebody, with the latter penned by Barry and Robin Gibb and originally performed by their group the Bee Gees. As the 1960s drew to a close, Simone tired of the American music scene and the country's deeply divided racial politics. Having been neighbors with Malcolm X and Betty Shea Bays in Mount Vernon, New York, she later lived in several different countries, including Liberia, Switzerland, England and Barbados before eventually settling down in the south of France. For years, Simone also struggled with severe mental health issues and her finances, and clashed with managers, record labels and the Internal Revenue Service. Simone, who had taken a break from recording in the mid-70s, returned in 1978 with the album Baltimore, with the title track a cover version of a Randy Newman tune. Critics gave the album a warm reception, but it did not fare well commercially. Simone went through a career renaissance in the 1980s when her song My Baby Just Cares For Me was used in a Chanel No. 5 perfume commercial in the United Kingdom. The song thus became a top 10 hit in Britain in 1985. She also penned her autobiography, I Put a Spell on You, which was published in 1991. Her next recording, A Single Woman, came out in 1993. Touring periodically, Simone maintained a strong fan base that filled concert halls whenever she performed. In 1998, she appeared in the New York tri-state area, her first trip there in 5 years, specifically playing at the New Jersey Performing Arts Center in Newark. The New York Times critic John Perles reviewed the concert, saying that there is still power in her voice and the show featured a beloved sound, a celebrated personality, and a repertoire that magnifies them both. That same year, Simone also attended South African leader Nelson Mandela's 80th birthday celebration. In 1999, Simone performed at the Guinness Blues Festival in Dublin, Ireland. She was joined on stage by her daughter Lisa Simone Kelly for a few songs. Lisa, from Simone's second marriage to manager Andrew Stroud, followed in her mother's footsteps. Among an array of performance accomplishments, she has appeared on Broadway in Aida, using the stage name Simone. In her final years, reports indicated that Nina Simone was battling breast cancer. She died at the age of 70 on April 21, 2003, at her home in Carry-la-Ruite, France. While she may be gone, Simone left a lasting impression on the world of music, art and activism. She sang to share her truth, and her work still resonates with great emotion and power. Simone has inspired an array of performers, including Aretha Franklin, Laura Nyro, Joni Mitchell, Lauryn Hill and Michelle Njosello. Her deep, distinctive voice continues to be a popular choice for television and film soundtracks. 2 documentaries on the musician's life were released in 2015, The Amazing Nina Simone, directed by Jeff L. Lieberman and backed by Re-Emerging Films, and What Happened, Miss Simone, from Netflix. The latter project was directed by Liz Garbus and offered commentary from daughter Lisa and ex-husband Stroud, among others. In addition to glorious musicianship, the project detailed troubling aspects of Simone's life, including the abuse she endured from her ex-husband and in turn the abuse daughter Lisa endured from her mother. What Happened, Miss Simone, later received an Oscar nomination for Best Documentary. In a turn of controversial casting, Simone was also depicted by actress Zoe Saldana in the 2016 biopic Nina.